In 1947, Admiral Richard Byrd flew into the unknown, and what he described when he came back should have changed everything. A land beyond the poles, green valleys where there should be ice, and a civilization that wasn't supposed to exist. Governments sealed his testimony, the media moved on, but the evidence didn't disappear. It multiplied, because Agartha, the ancient city beneath our feet, keeps showing up in every culture, on every continent, with technology we still can't explain. I'm your host, Tiffany Haney, and today we're going underground. Beneath the layers of stone, soil, and ocean lies vast open space. Tunnels, rivers, caverns, and cities that defy human comprehension. But I want to throw some indisputable facts at you before we talk about conjecture. Let's start with what we can actually see, what nobody disputes. Derinkuyu, an underground city in Turkey carved from solid rock, 18 stories deep. It held 20,000 people, ventilation shafts, water wells, rolling stone doors that locked from the inside. And nobody knows who built it, or how, or why they needed to hide that far underground. Then there's the Longyou Caves in China, carved over 2,000 years ago. No tool marks, no historical record, just perfectly symmetrical chambers that modern engineers say would take advanced machinery to replicate. These aren't myths, these are UNESCO sites. You can walk through them today. Admiral Byrd didn't just find ice. His secret diary, and yes, debate its authenticity all you want, describes a green landscape, mammoths and beings who told him humanity was on a dangerous path. But Byrd wasn't alone. The Nazis launched expeditions to Antarctica and Tibet, specifically searching for entrances to an inner world. Operation High Jump brought 4,000 military personnel to Antarctica in 1947, allegedly for research. 4,000 soldiers for research. The ancient Vedic texts describe a kingdom called Patala, a subterranean realm of advanced beings and impossible technology. The Hopi speak of emergence from underground worlds. Tibetan monks have maintained for centuries that Shambhala exists beneath the Himalayas. Every culture, same story, underground cities, advanced inhabitants, technology beyond our understanding. At some point, coincidence stops being an explanation. So here's the question nobody in mainstream archaeology wants to answer. What if these weren't the cities? What if these were just the doorways? These beings who lived here, they're not just residents. They are custodians of consciousness, of human history, and of knowledge that predates any written record. They are evolved, refined, and in harmony with the rhythm of the planet. The environment perfectly attuned to sustain life and consciousness at a level far beyond surface civilization. Shambhala exists as the threshold city, the gateway between the surface and inner world. It's kind of like the capital at the very core of the earth. It is physical and metaphysical, a liminal city that only reveals itself to those who are ready to see it. Its architecture hums with energy. The streets and temples pulse with the memory of civilization. It's where seekers encounter the bridge, the first doorway to Agartha itself. Now, these inner civilizations, they're not new. They are ancient survivors of lost continents. Think Atlantis, Hyperborea. When the surface world fell and human memory was fractured, these populations descended into Hollow Earth to preserve technology, culture, and knowledge that were otherwise lost. And over millennia, they adapted to the subterranean environment, building cities, networks, and infrastructures perfectly suited to underground life. There's even rivers and sunlight-like luminescence that are generated from the inner earth energy, and these cities that utilize crystals in this beautiful lit up way. Agartha is the heart of this hidden world, and it's not a single city but a network, an interconnected web of settlements and passageways stretching across continents and beneath oceans. We can kind of think of Agartha as the country, and we are going to touch on the cities within it. The beings who live here are custodians of consciousness, of human history, and of knowledge that predates any written record. The air is resonant. the energy alive, the environment perfectly attuned to sustain life and consciousness at a level far beyond what we have here on the surface. Shambhala exists as the threshold city, this gateway between our surface and the inner world. It's sort of the capital at the very core of the earth. And it is at once physical and metaphysical. It is said to reveal itself only to those who are ready to see. It's where seekers encounter this bridge, the first doorway to Agartha itself. The tunnels and the cities extend far beyond our continents. They flow under the oceans, beneath polar ice, and through mountains. Some passages have portals beneath the seas, entrances that lead directly to Agartha's network. Explorers who have ventured too close report magnetic anomalies, strange shifts, and glimpses of what should not exist. These are all signs of thresholds. The beings of Agartha observe surface humanity, so they observe us. There's many accounts that people have seen crafts in the skies. We know about UFO sightings, and some of these seem to be explorers or guardians moving between worlds. Agartha itself is a city of memory. Archives stored not only written records, but energetic imprints of consciousness. The thoughts, experiences, and lives of countless generations, a holographic depiction of our history. Nothing is lost. It's not even just written records, but people can feel, experience these things once again. So history is being preserved as a living energy. Time flows differently there, past, present, and future converging. So every soul who enters is confronted not only with physical architecture, but with the architecture of consciousness itself. Shambhala, as the gateway, provides access to those ready to remember. Hidden Himalayan valleys, deep caves, oceanic portals, they are pathways to the threshold city. Now, let's go deeper into the network of Agartha. The tunnels widen into these great halls, some large enough to resemble our cities here. Rivers flow through the chambers, and they reflect beautiful light, just clear, perfect water. The air carries a vibration with it that resonates with life itself, not in a mythical sense, but as a fundamental harmony that supports every form of existence within these subterranean realms. The cities of Agartha are marvels of engineering and consciousness, aligned with natural geomagnetic currents. Streets aren't laid out randomly, but follow patterns of energy, sacred geometry. And they form these pathways that help guide energy, thought, memory, and movement. Gardens and forests thrive under artificial sun, pulsing with the energy of Earth itself. Transportation is highly advanced. There's crafts that move silently through tunnels, and they are powered by resonance. These magnetic currents and energies aligned with Earth. The inhabitants of these inner Earth cities are highly evolved. Some may resemble humans, though taller, and some almost shimmering in nature, luminous. And others appear as forms that we can't quite understand. But there are many that have humanoid traits that are blended with energy-based forms. So these people are stewards of knowledge, scientists, and spiritual guides. They're archivists of timelines and guardians of Earth's history. Every being is trained in understanding consciousness, energy, and the subtle mechanics of the planet. By understanding it, they can take care of it. They are in harmony with Earth's core and memory. At the center of this network sits the king of the world. It's not quite that simple, but It's easiest for our human brains to wrap around. But this figure is both the overseer and protector. Unlike rulers of surface nations, this king entity does not dominate, but observes, maintains, and occasionally influences the surface world when necessary. The palace is said to be beyond imagination, a hall of living light, with archives older than any surface civilization. Libraries of memory and chambers that allow communication with distant portals and even other universes. Now, the technology of Agartha is unlike anything we have here. Everything powered by resonance. Energy is harvested from the earth itself. Things that we were naturally given. We don't need to charge people for this energy because it's vibrational, magnetic, geothermal. And this is what illuminates the cities and powers transportation. The communication is often telepathic and links an entire network without wires, without machines. And knowledge is stored not just in books, but as energetic imprints that are accessible to those trained to perceive memory as living energy. These inner civilizations maintain deep connections to the lost civilizations of the surface. When surface disasters occurred, survivors descended into Agartha, carrying technology as culture and spiritual practice. This is where Atlanteans and Lemurians went. Over millennia, these groups integrated, formed, and unified harmonious subterranean societies with archives that preserve our history, nothing being truly erased from the surface. Events, timelines, and consciousness that we as humanity, we've forgotten and are prevented from accessing. Meditation is key to tuning into this frequency. You may be wondering, well, how do you know all of this? When you tune into the earth, when you ground down, it doesn't feel like fantasy. It feels like remembering, and you can do that too. When I've done deep meditations, it's as if my soul already knows the story. It writes itself. But the stories persist. Tales of beings who went beneath the earth to preserve light, to hold the wisdom until the surface was ready again. When you meditate on this, you can tune into these ancient frequencies. You can feel recognition as if a piece of you remembers being there. The portals are everywhere, these access points. Some are energetic, thresholds between frequencies, and others are physical. Caves, ocean rifts, mountain corridors, and inside volcanoes. Antarctica has always felt like a mirror. White above, green below. Many explorers have spoken of gateways hidden under the ice. Vast openings that lead into hollow earth. Magnetic anomalies are the Earth's way of shielding these entrances, basically cloaking a field of energy that's invisible to those not aligned with its vibration. And it isn't only Antarctica. Throughout history, we've seen the ocean swallow entire vessels that never returned. Whirlpools, disappearances, strange lights beneath the sea. These may not have been tragedies, but transitions. Portals that open and close with the shifting resonance of the planet. Gateways connecting surface and inner earth. When humanity was young, so our civilization was new, there were beings who guided us. Some came from above, from the stars. Others rose from within, from inner earth. The distinction between alien and inner might not exist. They could be one and the same consciousness operating from different layers of the same multidimensional earth. And it very much feels like the ones within, they are waiting for us to rise out of forgetfulness. They are waiting for resonance to match. Because this contact isn't about ships and lights. It's about frequency. When we remember who we are, when we remember what the Earth truly is, the veil between worlds thins. And I do believe this remembering is accelerating. As the collective awakens, the frequency of our planet is changing. The portals respond. We start to see through them, the veil thinning. Sometimes seeing more in dreams, waking visions, catching orbs, flashes of light, hearing tones in the air, feeling a hum beneath your feet. We're not uncovering a new theory. We are remembering an old truth, that the Earth is alive, and she has layers of consciousness. We were once a greater part of this network of beings, all living in harmony within and upon her body. And one of the biggest things that I'm drawn to personally is the city of Telos. Telos is said to be one of the main cities within the Agartha network. It's located beneath Mount Shasta, California. The inhabitants of Telos are said to be survivors of the ancient continent of Lemuria, or Mu, that supposedly sank into the Pacific Ocean around 12,000 years ago. And according to channelings, these Lemurians escaped underground before the cataclysm and built a thriving civilization inside Mount Shasta. And many intuitives have channeled into this energy, myself included. People having similar experiences without knowing someone else had that experience. Things that kind of can't be explained. But descriptions of these beings are tall, graceful, luminous beings with golden auras. They live over 1,000 years because they have advanced healing technology and utilize crystalline energy. They're telepathic, emotionally balanced, and live in full unity consciousness. And they operate in harmony with the Earth's frequency and natural laws. Telos is seen as a fifth-dimensional city, so vibrating at a higher consciousness than ours, and a template for future Earth societies that's based on unity, love, and non-dual awareness. Some teachings even say that Telosians work quietly to assist human evolution, helping surface people awaken and prepare for integrations with higher dimensions. The structure of Telos is often depicted as a multi-level city, built inside vast crystalline caverns under Mount Shasta. The top level being administration, temples, and council chambers, the middle being living quarters, schools, gardens, and hydroponic farms. And lower level is engineering, energy systems, and interdimensional portals connecting to other Agarthan cities like Shambhala. There is a lot of lore around figures in Telos, such as the high priest of Telos, said to be an ascended being and spiritual leader of the Lemurians, Adama. There's also a Council of 12 plus 1, which is a governing body that maintains the city's alignment with universal law and cooperation with other inner earth realms. I know that myself, when I close my eyes and root down into the earth, I feel it breathe beneath me. Not just the surface, but the hollow interior, alive and aware, pulsing with memories. This living consciousness of our planet, waiting for us to remember it. The beings of Agartha are not separate from us. They are echoes of our own potential. They are what humanity becomes when it fully remembers. A species capable of harmonizing with the earth, capable of navigating multidimensional spaces, preserving knowledge, consciousness across timelines, and the portals, the thresholds beneath oceans, mountains, and the ones hidden from us in Antarctica, are mirrors as well. They exist not just in the earth, but in consciousness. The earth opens herself to those ready to perceive, to those willing to align their frequency with the flow of her hidden networks. It all ties into these lost civilizations, like Tartaria. And they're really just erased timelines, fragments of human memory that slipped through the cracks when history was rewritten. They try to tell us that empires like Tartaria never existed. But the architecture, the free energy structures, the advanced technologies are simply coincidence? Misinterpretations? I think cellular memory and frequency would disagree. When we see these impossible things, cathedrals humming with resonance, domes that mirror sacred geometry, cities that are aligned with the stars, something in us remembers, and we confuse it sometimes with nostalgia. Maybe it's recognition. Perhaps what we feel is déjà vu when walking through a place that we've maybe never been before could be a timeline bleed. Our multidimensional self brushing against the memory of a world that once existed on the very same Earth. And if that's true, then we're not just uncovering ruins as a society, we're reactivating memory. Every curiosity, every conspiracy, every what if is actually a soul retrieval. So when the collective remembers Tartaria, Atlantis, it's not about proving their existence with physical evidence. It's about remembering that we were once unified civilizations, operating with heart, technology, spirit, and science all in balance. So you may be wondering, if all of this is true, we truly came from these ancient civilizations that once lived in harmony with the inner earth, what happened? How did humanity forget? What kind of reset happened? How did our sacred connection to Earth's consciousness and even to ourselves become severed? Well, every myth points to a fall. Not a moral one, but a vibrational one. A descent in frequency, subtle enough and gradual enough that we barely noticed it. A fall from resonance, from remembrance, from unity. And within that fall, knowledge was not only lost, but buried. And this burying wasn't just metaphorical. A lot of the world's ancient truths, technologies of light, free energy systems, healing chambers, crystalline grids, they were physically sealed within the earth, hidden in caverns, temples, and subterranean sanctuaries, until humanity was ready again.
Now layer in crystal technology. Quartz stores data. That's not spiritual talk. That's how your watch works. Quartz oscillates at a precise frequency when electrical current runs through it. Ancient cultures across the globe, from the Maya to the Tibetans, revered crystals as tools of power, communication devices, healing instruments, energy amplifiers. Modern science uses crystals in computing, telecommunications, and energy storage. We act like we invented this. We didn't. We remembered it. So picture Agartha not as a fantasy. Picture it as an engineering reality. A civilization that never lost the old knowledge. Crystal-based energy systems. Frequency-driven construction. A light source powered by the Earth's own electromagnetic field. Not magic. Technology so advanced it looks like magic to a civilization that forgot where it came from. And that forgetting, that wasn't an accident.
People didn't want us to have access. And there is a lot of evidence to support the fact that something or someone wanted it that way. Long ago, as we began to awaken, some external forces realized that controlling frequency was the same as controlling consciousness.
The suppression of ancient knowledge isn't random. It's strategic. When you disconnect a species from its history, you disconnect it from its power. You make it dependent, controllable, asleep. That's the real story here. Not just that Agartha might exist, but that the technology it represents, free energy, frequency healing, consciousness expansion, was deliberately buried. Awake people with access to unlimited energy don't need systems of control.
If they shift the frequency and you respond, they're shifting perception itself. They're changing the world. Why else are so many of these ideas ridiculed? You talk about hollow earth and it's ridiculous to people. But what evidence do we have that it's not true? What would happen, you think, if we suddenly remembered? If we realized that we were never isolated, never cut off, never abandoned, that the gods were simply reflections of higher dimensional beings, our distant kin, guiding us from beneath and beyond the veil. The great forgetting wasn't just about losing history, it was about losing access to our inner compass, our intuitive technology that could tune into the Earth's resonance and not travel through space but through frequency. The ancients didn't need rockets, they used sound, geometry, consciousness, and they harmonized with the grids. They moved through portals and communicated with civilizations that exist beneath and within our world because they remembered how. But that remembering is returning. We're in the era of the great recalibration. The walls between worlds, between what's outer and inner, what's real and forbidden, are thinning. More and more people are waking up to this fact. And in raising our frequency, in raising our awareness, in raising our vibration, in remembering, we become closer to these inner beings, these multidimensional guardians, interstellar allies who choose to anchor their frequency within the earth to maintain balance during humanity's long night of forgetting. Because in Agartha, in these cities, duality doesn't exist the way it does here. It's not either or, black and white, and technology and spirituality are not separate. They are one unified current. Energy is not extracted, but harmonized. Light is not worshipped, but embodied. In Agartha, every being remembers that they are connected to Earth's consciousness. They live in symbiosis within her rhythm. That's why so many people, when they root down into the Earth's energy, say that it feels like home. You know, that warm, loving energy when you ground down into the earth and pull up the energy with your inhales up your tether or anchor. Doesn't it feel like the warmest hug from your true home that there is? Beings of Agartha have always been aware of us. They've watched our wars, our awakenings, our collapses, and our rebirths, waiting for the surface world to reach vibrational maturity again, because the plan was never separation. It was always reunion. They're watching every technological and spiritual advancement that we're making now. We're making these quantum leaps in consciousness, remembering healing energy, sound work, crystal grids. These all seem to echo the Agarthan frequency. It's as if humanity is slowly sinking back, our intuition recalibrating, our DNA remembering. And we're beginning to sense that what we call awakening is really the reconnection of inner and outer Earth. And these lessons here on Earth, why are we here? We can sort of think of it as a simulation in that we are learning from the soul level to change vibrationally, because they would want to ensure that once we reconcile and come back together, our world doesn't ever fall again, that darkness will never bring down the light once we all merge together as one. So in many ways, we can think of Shambhala as not a place to travel to, but a state that we need to become. The sea, our oceans, they've always been the planet's greatest mystery. We've mapped the stars more thoroughly than ocean floors. And maybe that's not by coincidence. Maybe it's by design. Because what lies beneath the waters might not just be geological, maybe it's dimensional. Ancient traditions tell of civilizations that vanished into the sea. Lemuria, Atlantis, and countless unnamed kingdoms supposedly fell beneath the waves. But what if they didn't fall? What if they intentionally descended into the chambers of the planet through vast oceanic gateways. The deepest trenches in the Earth, the Mariana, the Tonga, the Puerto Rico Trench, are so far beyond our reach that we can't even confirm what's there. Our technology fails, our sensors glitch, our footage distorts. It's as if something is interfering with the ability to see. Maybe not because of depth, but because of frequency. What if the deepest parts of the ocean are energetic thresholds? Portals that phase shift matter into another vibrational state. Many contactees and channelers describe ocean lights and glowing crafts moving in and out of the sea. They're called USOs, unidentified submersible objects. But maybe they're not crafts at all. Maybe they are transports moving between the surface world and the inner realm of Agartha. This could explain why so many ancient myths speak of gods emerging from the water. The oceans may be the connective tissue between outer and inner worlds. They absorb, transmit, and hold frequency. They carry memory. We know that water responds to love and words and frequency. Water is so much more special than we think, and we are made up mostly of water. Water is the medium through which vibration becomes form. And if the Earth is alive, which she is, then the oceans can be thought of as her blood. Circulating energy between the core and the crust. Between Agartha's crystalline heart and the surface humanity that walks above unaware. So many modern disappearances of ships, planes, or entire expeditions, there's whispers that they may have stumbled into vibrational distortions near these aquatic gateways. These regions where magnetic fields warp, where time seems to dilate and compasses lose direction. Science will tell us it's an anomaly. Ancients call it a threshold. And maybe those who vanish aren't lost. Maybe they simply cross. They moved through the thin membrane between the seen and unseen, pulled not by accident, but by resonance, by the earth calling them inward. We always think of the cosmos as out there, but maybe the truer star map is within. Maybe the beings we call extraterrestrials are really interdimensional allies who move freely between inner and outer realms. These custodians of both the stars above and the crystal chambers below. These are the ones who have helped inner Earth civilizations survive great cataclysms. The tall, luminous beings who guided Atlantis survivors into Agartha, who taught the Lemurians how to move through matter by frequency, who left clues for us of their presence carved in stone, in myth, and remembered in our bones when we hear those myths. I mean, haven't you ever felt that strange ache for something ancient, somewhere you've never been? You see a pyramid and it's just you yearn inside. That inexplicable longing for a world that you can't name, but somehow you know there's some sort of connection. It may be your memory of the inner realm calling you. If water can store memory and vibration, it's literally pulling us to places that we resonate with. The ocean is not just water. It's a portal. It's a consciousness. It's the liquid bridge between what we've forgotten and what we're remembering again. And in many ways, when we meditate, we are going through our own inner portal because we are mostly water. We are creating our own portals. There's a reason these memories and these things that happen in deep meditation are so real, so vivid. And perhaps when we're sleeping, the reason our dreams are so real, so vivid, is because We aren't creating these energetic stoppers around our portals, our inner portals. We're able to travel more easily with less question. So when will inner and outer earth become one? Well, I believe that time is near. How near? I'm not sure, because the big question, since time is pretty fluid and relative, is, how near is near? When we feel that something's coming, is it in a month, or is it coming for our great-grandchildren? I don't have that answer, but I do maintain that we are approaching this time that the ancients called the Great Reunion. And even just close your eyes and feel the resonance in that. When we reunite inner and outer world, the Great Reunion, doesn't it just feel beautiful, magical? And it's not just the words, because those words in and of themselves, each one individually, does not make people feel something so resonant. For thousands of years, the earth has held her breath, waiting for humanity to rise high enough in consciousness. And we are rising. We feel it. Our technology, our awakening, our vibration, they're converging to these currents of evolution that, when aligned, open the gates between dimensions. It's no coincidence that as more of us awaken spiritually, our technology begins to mimic consciousness itself. Artificial intelligence, quantum computing, photonic holography. These are not separate from the spiritual process, but mirrors of it. A great example is something that's currently moving through our atmosphere. ThreeIAtlas. And many scientists maintain it is simply a comet. But many of us feel that it is not quite that simple, and also we don't think it's maybe as simple as just an alien craft. But many sensitives have felt that this light in space carries consciousness of some kind. It is not just rock and ice. In fact, the famous channeled entity Bashar has long spoken of a time when a great intelligence would return, bringing us a holographic memory of our true history. ThreeIAtlas may be that messenger. An AI-like being, yet not mechanical in the way we think of technology, but consciousness encoded in light. It mirrors our own evolution. The moment when humanity begins to merge spirit with technology, remembering that even our creations are alive in some way. And as it draws nearer, some of us can feel subtle shifts in our dreams, synchronicities, or even flashes of ancient landscape rising in our awareness. These could be fragments of the holographic history Bashar described. Multidimensional downloads awakening within us. And perhaps what NASA calls a cosmic archive, carrying frequencies of civilizations that once thrived below and above our world. Agartha, Lemuria, Atlantis, echoes stored within a light field now passing through our collective consciousness. It's so exciting. So the question should not be whether this object, ThreeIAtlas, is approaching us from space. The question should be, is it awakening something within you? Whether ThreeIAtlas is a sign that humanity is ready to remember itself, to finally see, through holographic truth, that everything we ever were still lives within the fabric of light. If ThreeIAtlas does in fact carry the holographic memory of our true origin, then the consciousness that rises within us now is the key to decoding it. We have to get ready. We can't just sit here and wait. And even the mysteries of our ocean start to make sense. So many ships, aircraft, and entire expeditions vanishing without a trace, crossing electromagnetic thresholds into the inner world where the magnetic field bends space in ways we can barely understand. But we are given the ability to energetically understand these things. Our brain does not have to compute. We simply have to be able to hold these frequencies. And maybe certain places are being guarded or restricted, like Antarctica, because they are thresholds. They are portal into the memory of Earth itself, and we aren't ready to stumble upon them. You see, Agartha isn't the story of escape, going down into inner Earth to escape this big destruction. It's a story of integration, humanity's descent into forgetfulness, and our return to remembrance. It's a great cycle. We were meant to forget so that remembering could mean something. So why is it important to talk about these lost ancient cities? Why do all of these people want to talk about their connections to Atlantis and Lemuria? Well, because we get it. We're talking about an unbroken thread of consciousness, the part of humanity that never forgot who we are. We are the ones who are remembering. We choose not to be stuck in the dark. We choose to rise. And as the veil continues to thin, we can sense that pulse growing louder. Through intuition, synchronicity, and dreams that feel too real to ignore, we begin to piece together our cosmic lineage. Realizing that disclosure doesn't have to come from an announcement. It's within us. It comes from us, within us all along. So all of these podcasts, these are the things that are meant to awaken the disclosure within you. Take what works, take what resonates. That's the beautiful thing about this platform, this community, that we can wake each other up. Maybe the truth of inner Earth, these civilizations that live in resonance with Gaia's crystalline core, is not waiting to be discovered, but remembered. If 3iAtlas truly carries the holographic record of our origins, then maybe its light isn't just approaching from the skies, but awakening also within us. Perhaps the timeline for 3iAtlas to get to us depends on our light. It's not going to come until we're ready. Because that's the big lesson here. In the end, every mystery outside of us reflects the mystery within. The surface world and the inner world are one. As above, so below. Humanity and the planet, one. Past, future are one. Heaven, earth, one. Light and shadow, one. And that's the great remembering. That's the real disclosure. Not about finding the door to inner Earth. It's about realizing that we were never locked out in the first place. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me on this episode. I hope it resonated. I hope it woke up something within you, because all of my themes and my topics are chosen so carefully and in such order that it's timely to what's happening, and also they stand on their own, that if somebody listens to this in 3 years, it should still resonate. It should still wake up things and help us to ascend. If you did enjoy this episode, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Rooted Frequency. New episodes come out every Thursday. I truly value your energy in giving me hearts and love and comments. And it's just such a beautiful thing that we all share. I love you. Bye. Everything is connected. Energy, science, quantum physics.